Hello, Sean Woolley here from Cloud9 Spain. Another episode of the Developer Diaries. With me today, I'm really privileged, actually. I have Marc Pritchard, who's Sales and Marketing Director of Taylor Wimpey España. And Taylor Wimpey, for those of you who don't know, is pretty much a multinational company with a base head office in the UK.
In High Wycombe.
Yeah. High Wycombe, you didn't have to say that. But you are the Spanish end of that operation, aren't you?
Absolutely, yeah.
And you're based in Mallorca.
That's where the head office is. And that's where we've been, or where it all started was Taylor Woodrow.
That's right. Was it Taylor Woodrow and Wimpey, and then it became?
It was Taylor Woodrow and George Wimpey, and we merged in 2008.
I remember.
Best of all times, right in the middle of the financial crisis.
But the reason I'm keen to speak to you is obviously we talk to a lot of developers, and one-man bands can be developers, but you're a heavyweight outfit in terms of your company. You've got a profile, you've got shareholders to answer to.
Oh, yeah.
So you're a proper developer, heavyweight developer, and you are unusual in the fact that you're a nice developer. No, you're apart from being a nice guy, you've been in Taylor Wimpey, or whatever it used to be, for 30 years.
Yeah.
Wow, have you got the watch? Have you got the gold? What is it?
Yeah, I've got 10 years, I've got 20 years, I was 30 years. Let's wait and see what's going to happen this year. It's going to be interesting. I started in end of 93, beginning 94, I think it was, and I started in sales. Yeah. When I started, it was Taylor Woodrow. The whole business started in Spain in 1958, so over 65 years we've been there. The first, let's say, until the mid-90s, it was a business. We built a couple of villas. They were finished. And then initially they were offered to some directors back in the UK. And they could buy them. And then we took over the rental parts. And that was specifically Mallorca. And it started getting a proper business with a business plan in 1995, 96.
Oh, right, okay.
Before that, it was just...
It was a bit ad hoc. It was
ad hoc. It was something, let's say, to play around with. It wasn't a proper business. We did a couple of sites, but nothing spectacular. Right. And then it started in 96 when we did the first business plan. And it started really getting big. In those days, we had one site already at the end of the 80s on the Costa del Sol. We was down in... and Los Castillos and Duquesa.
Okay, yes.
There's a site called Los Castillos in Duquesa, on Duquesa Golf.
Right.
And we built that in 1988 or 1989. When I started, I was still selling rests of those. There were still properties left because there was a big crisis in 91, 92, where we didn't sell anything. That was, I think, I wasn't there then, but I started selling when we had the leftovers of of that crisis. And it was only Mallorca, but it started getting a proper business with this business plan, and it really took off in 1997, in May 1997, when we bought Los Arqueros.
Yes.
That's really when the business started to start rolling out. We expanded onto the Costa del Sol again after pulling out in the early 90s. We went into the Costa Blanca. We had Mallorca, where we've been really settled down, but it started becoming a proper business. When I started, I think we were 7 or 8 people.
Yeah.
And then it grew until just under 200. That was the head count in 2006, 2007, then the financial crisis came. And then we had to then we decreased. We had to change the
So in terms of your areas, Mallorca, obviously because it's your base, Costa Blanca, and Costa del Sol, yeah?
Exactly, yeah.
And any other areas ever taken your fancy, or are you quite happy with your core markets?
We're happy with our core markets. We've still got land, which we bought before the financial crisis, on the Costa de Azaja, which is Castellón area, which we still have there. We don't know what we're going to do with it, so we still have leftovers from the last financial crisis. Not lots, 2 or 3 plots, which we still have lying around. Because in those days, just before the financial crisis, land was becoming a big issue, and you bought anything and everything. So we've got some leftovers from those times. But we wouldn't go into Portugal, or wouldn't go into people who were asking, well, why did you move to the Algarve, or why wouldn't you move to the Canary Islands? We're Taylor Wimpey España, Canaries are Spain, but it would mean to just set up another regional office, and we don't want to do that. Our core areas are the Costa del Sol, the Costa Blanca, and Mallorca.
And you're happy with your life?
We're happy where we are. volume of the business is around 500 units a year. And that's what we're currently doing between the 3 regions. And that's what we're happy with.
And it's mainly apartments.
Yeah.
Yep.
Generally, 80%, 85% would be apartments, and we've got a couple of townhouses. Detached villas, we had a site on Mallorca, but at the moment we don't have any detached, anything at all. Generally speaking, it's 80% apartments, 20% townhouses.
Is that because you're comfortable in the apartment market, or would you ever consider going into the villa market, Costa del Sol, or do you think that's just a?
I think villa market Costa del Sol, if something comes up where everything fits together, I think we would look at it. Yes, we would certainly look at it. The last development we did on Mallorca was 100 villas.
Right.
So 100 villas, plots between 600, 550 up to about 800 square meters. And the villa was standard size, was standardized model, which was with 3 bedrooms, and we sold them between 800,000 up to 1 million euros. We started initially at 400,000, but it went through.
Because that's a product that's probably missing from the Costa del Sol general portfolio, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of people, most people don't want to spend 2 or 3 million on a villa.
No, up to 1 million, that's a good market.
Yeah.
The big thing there is it's extremely difficult now to find the land, to get the right town hall where you can get the licenses in place quickly, and it doesn't take 2 or 3 or 4 years. That's a big issue. And the other big issue we're having as a property developer is really nowadays is just the massive shortage of qualified labor.
Oh, really?
That's becoming a big issue.
Okay. And what's caused that? Is anything in particular, or is it a sort of perfect storm?
I'll give you, I think a couple of weeks ago, I got one data. I think in 2007 or 2006, the average age of a bricklayer was, I think, 37, maybe it was 38. I think now we're talking about mid-50s.
Wow. So where are all those youngsters going?
Well, all those youngsters want to be, I think they like to be
YouTubers.
Influencers or YouTubers or something. That's a big issue. It's a big issue. Nobody wants to go on a building site. Even though on a building site nowadays, you can earn good money.
Well, I was in a place yesterday in Malaga where they make the houses in their warehouse,
Yep.
and then they just chop them in half and ship them and put them back together.
Industrialised,
And
yeah.
it's a sterile environment.
Yeah.
And I thought, the rain was hammering down outside. We could hear it on the roof.
Yeah.
But I thought this is great because you can keep an eye on your workforce.
Yep.
You can build multiple units.
Yep.
But it's a sterile environment. You've not got them on the San Miguel at 3 o'clock. The wall becomes like that. And I thought this could be the future. Tell me about your current product range. So you've got. I know that what you seem to like to do is to go into a market like you did with Los Arqueros and develop it within that area.
Mm-hmm.
And you've done the same with quite a strategic partnership with La Cala Golf.
Oh yes, yeah. It's just been a great part.
Which seems to be
Really good.
going really well.
Yes.
So how many developments have you got in La Cala Golf then? You've got
At the moment, we've got one very big one.
La Solana.
La Solana, which is 197 units.
That's a great development.
50% is sold, and we're just started with the next phase, which is basically the second phase, another 100 units. They've gone on the market. We're building those, handing over the first nearly 100 units with that big pool in the middle next to the clubhouse. And the next project we'll have there, which we will be releasing quite soon, within the next 6 to 8 weeks, will be a site called The Meadows.
The Meadows?
The Meadows.
I wasn't expecting that.
No, anyway, this is some marketing people saying they've funny ideas. The Meadows.
You are my sales and marketing director.
No, we've got some people with good ideas, and they're going to be townhouses again, similar to Bilaria.
Yeah.
That was a site we had before, only 21 years. This is going to be the first phase of some townhouses we're going to do, which are next to Natura and Sun Valley, which is developments we built over the last 2-3 years.
You've done incredibly well there, because I guess there's always a fear, isn't there, that the further out you go from the coast, and La Cala Golf is, although it's beautiful, I love La Cala Golf, it's beautiful, but I suppose you could say it's just a little bit out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there really is. I think the good thing about La Cala, it started in 2014. The first site was Miraval. That was 2013, 2014, 2015. And since then, we've done about just under 700 units so far. And we're going to continue. It's a good partnership.
So that's a long-term...
It's a long-term partnership because there's just a lot of land still around there. And I think La Cala Golf Resort, it's FBD, which is the Irish group which was behind it, and Taylor Wimpey PLC. It is a really, really good partnership. It's good for both sides.
Yeah.
They're doing continuous work on the golf course. They're doing continuous work on the infrastructure. There will be a commercial zone.
That's the missing piece.
That's That's going to start soon. That's going to be around the area of where we're building Solana, between the two phases on the top. So
but of course, you need volume to make that work, don't you? It's a bit like us here at Monte Mayor.
Exactly the same.
There's no point putting a cafe and a bar and a restaurant in if you've got 50 people.
No, exactly. No,
so you need
volume. Yeah. You need volume, because otherwise that's not going to work. That business is just not going to work.
Other areas, Estepona Golf is an area of
Estepona Golf, we still work. We had Green Golf, which were again townhouses. They're sold out. Now we've got Sunny Golf, which the first phase or the first 2 blocks, we've got 2 units remaining, and now we're going to start with blocks 3 and 4, which is a further 35 units. Estepona Golf is historic. It's a plot we bought in 2006.
Right. Okay.
Those again.
A legacy plot.
Oh yes, legacy plot. It was just those plots you bought just before the crisis. Then the financial crisis struck.
And we were like, damn, we could have got it for less.
Yeah, we could have got it for a lot less. So anyway, we were stuck with that plot. It took, well, at the end of the day, you can do the calculations. 2008, 2024. It took 16, 17, 18 years until we actually started building on that plot. Those 2 plots.
And is that just because you wanted to wait until conditions were right?
Yes.
Because I guess you can. Although you've got a lot of mouths to feed in your company, you can never stop, can you? Because I remember in the financial crisis, I remember driving around San Pedro, and you were the only developer with
Los Arqueros Beach.
Los Arqueros Beach and 275 or something. We should all have bought one.
195.
195.
195. The cheapest unit was 195.
195. And I remember saying to my partner, do you know what? When this market comes back, anyone who bought there is going to be a winner.
Yeah.
And but you were pretty much the only ones that were seemed to be forging ahead. But I guess that's because of the sort of company you are. You can't stop, can you? You've always got to be selling.
You've got to be moving on, because if you don't move on, you've got to move. Obviously, we're measured. Obviously, our margin is very extreme. We've got to make money in every site we do. But what we move on and what we're measured on, that's being a UK PLC, is return on capital employed. So we've got to move.
Yeah.
The minute we've got stock, we need to just make sure that we sell those on. Because a site with stock, every property, if you do the calculations, every property which is stuck on a site, which is key ready, which you can hand over and somebody could live in it, if we keep it, it's going to cost us an awful lot of money every month.
San Pedro is an interesting one, isn't it? Because you've been heavily involved there, built some great developments. I'm guessing a success story for you, but I'm guessing land is also very expensive there.
Yeah, I think the future land at the moment, it looks like we've done. It started off with Los Arqueros Beach, then we went on to Agua, then we did Terra, which we bought from Osuna. That was the first plot, and then we've got Maru 1 and 2, which again we bought from Osuna. I don't know if we're going to buy any further plots at the moment. It's unlikely, but because the prices are just.
That's the problem, isn't it? Even the retail prices, it comes to a point where you think, hang on a minute.
Yeah, exactly. I think you get to
a ceiling.
You get to a ceiling where you just say, listen, this is just not right anymore.
Los Arqueros is interesting. Are you still involved there in terms of the future, or is it
nothing? We're completely out. We sold the golf course and everything which was in it in 2018.
Yes.
We bought it in 1997, May 97. Altogether, it was about 1,400 units between apartments and villas. Villas, we didn't do that many. We did some right at the beginning, late 90s, early 2000s, but then all the rest were just apartments.
I've just bought a unit in Los Arqueros as an investment in El Lago. Is that your
El Lago, yeah. That was one of the first ones, right down to the bottom. Yeah, that was the second site.
And do you know what? It still looks great. I don't know how old it is, 20 years, something like that. But
no, that's probably more than that. That was 25 years, probably 25 years.
25 years.
1990,
it still looks decent.
Yeah.
So yeah, hats off to you. And quick question about, and I'm intrigued by this, is how do you determine where to build, what to develop? In terms of the land, how do you decide that's land for us? Is it just about location and price? Is it that simple, or do you have to think longer term about, is this going to be a hotspot? Is this going to be a regeneration area, or is it more of a kind of fundamental feel?
There's a lot of feeling. There's a lot of gut feeling. I think as a whole, Taylor Wimpey in Spain, I think it's all about the team we have and the people around there. And obviously, there's a lot of knowledge. It starts off with the land buyers, with the regional directors, with the sales managers, myself, general director. I think it's a team thing.
So you go out there on the land with your Wellington boots on and say.
I run every. Normally, I do run every plot.
Right.
Just yesterday, I went up to 2 plots, and I go onto the plots, physically go into the plots, and then you just take your car, and you just start walking around.
Yeah.
Get
a feel for the land.
The views, if there's any infrastructure, can you have a beer in the afternoon or in the evening? It's a lot of factors going in. Approach when you drive up, what's the feeling you get? But at the end of the day, the final thing, we get plots every day. It's getting more and more difficult, and they're getting more and more expensive. And then you sometimes look at the town halls and say, oh my God, this town could be very difficult, extremely difficult, because obviously the land license is going to take you a year or 2 years, when in theory it only should take 3 months. Yeah. So there's a lot of factors running into this. And then obviously you've got your Excel sheet.
Yeah.
So you do your calculations.
That's got to work, hasn't it?
It's got to work. So you do your calculations, you put in your build cost, you put in your sales prices. And how quick you can sell them, that's quite important too.
Well, that's key as well, isn't it? Because I've noticed, obviously you have you're a machine, basically. You're a marketing machine, and congratulations to you. But it seems to me that out of the way places don't put you off. So Istan, for instance, Altura, there's okay, they're not out the way, but they're fairly new areas, aren't they? And but you're not put off by that.
No. I think if the numbers work and we think the product could work in those locations, it's good. We did the same up in La Marina. I don't know if you remember La Floresta. Yeah. That was very similar. Yeah. That did take longer than anticipated, but sometimes you've got to take the risk.
Yes, I agree with that.
I've got sites which perform amazingly well, and suddenly the margins at the end of the project just turn out much, much better than expected. Right. I've got other sites which just don't work as well, and I said, okay, we shouldn't have done that.
And do you have different sort of marketing strategies for each different site? Would you have different approaches or messages, or would you just sort of stick to the formula?
No, normally we do stick to the formula. It is standardized. Sometimes you play around with sometimes with the commissions. You work with the commissions when you see, okay, it's not going to work that well. You just increase the commissions, you adjust and bring them up. But generally speaking, we go pretty straightforward.
How reliant are you on agents? I mean, what proportion of the
depending
of sales?
Per region. On the Costa Blanca and the Costa del Sol, it's higher than on Mallorca. In Mallorca, we do the majority is direct sales, probably over 70%.
Oh wow!
Okay. Yeah, that's quite high, extremely high. And here on the Costa, there's anything between, I would say, agent sale, anything between, at the moment, between 65 and 75, around 70%.
Okay.
70%.
So
70% are agent sales. No, they're very important. Yeah. I think without the agents, you can't work. That's very important. Yeah.
Have you ever wanted to limit the amount of agents you work with? Because I guess if you open it up to everyone, you're opening up to thousands of people.
You want to, but sometimes you just can't. It's ideally, I would only like to work with proper agents like yourself. Oh, no, but they're just so. It is, especially the Costa del Sol is extremely difficult. The Costa Blanca is very similar. On Mallorca, it's not as bad. Yeah. On Mallorca, you don't have that situation. Yeah. Generally speaking, Mallorca, the market is much more, well, saying that professional, but they work a lot less than the Costa del Sol. In Mallorca, to do a booked appointment with a client on a Saturday with an agent is probably impossible.
Oh, really?
It should be quite straight.
Because the agent doesn't want to show up.
Exactly. That on the Costa del Sol and the Costa Blanca is unheard of. I mean, that's on the Costa Blanca 7 days a week.
Because we have the problem the other way around here. So, sometimes getting normally a Spanish developer out of bed on a Saturday or Sunday, no chance. With Taylor Wimpey, it's always been, yeah, of course you can.
Well, we had to close now on Sundays because we're short of one sales guy. Oh, okay. Probably had an accident. And that's another problem. Getting staff is just getting more willing. And getting staff who wants to work, who's willing to work on a Saturday and a Sunday.
But it's incredible.
That's very, very, very difficult.
We sometimes wait 2 weeks to get an appointment on an off-plan development in, say, Estepona. And you're like, hang on, but we've got the client here now ready. Why don't you just hire another person? But I guess that's the problem, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. Getting the staff.
That's what it's here. But obviously, you just suddenly you've got an agent calling up who you've never heard of. Yeah. He calls up, he saw the telephone number, calls into the call center. He says, I've got a client here, I want to come to visit now. Yeah. But you haven't got a contract, you haven't ever been with us, and what do you do then? Yeah. That's always it's difficult.
Because that's costing you money. So it's money and time, and Absolutely. You might end up with a disgruntled employee. Yeah. It's wasted his Saturday morning, Sunday morning. Yeah,
exactly.
And I can see it. Tell me about the product mix that you've got. It's quite broad, but starting price on the Costa del Sol, for instance?
At the moment, the cheapest you have is 310,000 euros. Okay. 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom down Estepona Golf.
Yeah. Up to, what's the big ticket item?
$1 million.
Okay, so that's your sweet spot, isn't it?
500,000 euros average selling price, round about there. If we can be, round about that's our sweet spot.
And tell me, in terms of the historical figures, Taylor Wimpey, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, has always been known for, when they first release a product off plan, competitive pricing, and the pricing going up during construction, even during wobbly times.
Oh yeah, we try to price build if we can.
Yeah. So
Always.
Is that just to return value to your investors and
Well, we can see the minute our sales rhythm starts slowing down, that's probably when we will not keep on increasing prices. But ideally, what we always should aim for is to have a site sold out when it's finished.
Yep.
I don't want to be stuck. So when it's finished and we're key ready, we ideally should be sold out. We should be handing those properties over to the new clients, new owners, and we should be out. That's ideally what we should look at. While other property, there are property developers down out here who just would look, say, oh, I don't care if they're around there another 6 months. If I can get 100,000 euros more, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that, but I will try to price build. If I can, if the market is right, I will try to price build, yes.
Is there something nice about having some key-ready stock available, though? Because I'm guessing, certainly we noticed since COVID, people don't like to wait anymore.
No, exactly. No. Sometimes it's good, yes. At the moment, I think I've got key ready where you can move in within the next couple of weeks. We've got about 10 properties on the Costa del Sol, and that's all we have in the whole of Spain.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Tell me, who's buying? Who's buying on the Costa del Sol? I know the Balearics is a different market. Costa Blanca is a different market, really. But I think Costa del Sol, who's your main buyer?
First of all, I think every region is very different by nationalities too. The most international market by far is the Costa del Sol. And we're talking this year for us, we're on 36 different nationalities.
Yes, I can believe that.
Which is incredible. Costa Blanca Costa Blanca is just over 20 different nationalities, 22 or 23. And Mallorca, we're not even hitting 10 different nationalities. Right. So that gives an idea of how international. It's all about how Costa del Sol Marbella is probably known all around the world.
It is now. Yeah.
It is now, certainly is. That's why I've got 36 different nationalities who were bought here only this year. And, the strongest markets for us here on the Costa del Sol, we take the top 5, would be always for us. Well, this year we've got slightly different. The top 5 are, for us this year, is Polish.
Really?
Yeah, still is.
Are they number 1?
They would be, I think, together with the British, number 1 for us.
Wow, that's really incredible. Okay.
Yeah. Then we're followed by the Dutch, who've come back very, very strongly. I think the Dutch have taken over from the Belgian market.
Yes. Yeah, the Belgians have been quiet this year.
Last year, it started going down.
Yeah.
But I think, obviously, with those markets, they're relatively small markets. Yeah. I mean, Belgium is about 9 million population. The vast majority of Belgians buying probably in the Costa del Sol are from the Flemish part, so that's probably 4 million. So it is a small market. The Dutch market is taking up that. Another market which is important for us here on the coast, Belgium is still there. Spanish, we don't have that much, but that's because of the product range. We have a lot of Spanish on the Costa Blanca. Okay. That's location. If you have a first or second line development on the Costa Blanca, which is around 300,000-400,000, you will have Spanish buying. Then here on the Costa del Sol, you've got Americans. Americans have come. We've sold to Americans here.
Yeah, they're our second biggest market.
It's for us, Americans at the moment here on the Costa del Sol would be number 4 or 5.
Okay.
But increasing, definitely increasing. Because last year we could see hardly any. This year we've got an important amount. And then, we still have a lot of Middle Eastern. Kuwait.
And it's kind of scattered, isn't it? Then?
Yes.
It becomes quite fragmented.
Yeah, then we have everything, a little bit of everything.
Do most of your clients buy for holiday home, second home usage, or is it for permanent moves now?
No, permanent move. The product range, you've just said it, basically product range we offer, what we do, as it's mostly apartment, second home, lock-up, easy-going, maintenance-free as much as possible. In community, we don't have to take care of anything. Yeah. If you've got your villa and there is more in it. You've got a pool, you've got a house, you've got a garden, so you need people. You need to sort this out. Obviously, there's a lot of companies around here, but if you're within a condominium or apartment project, everything's been taken care of. You pay communal charges and that's it.
We're expecting a bit of a squeeze on the short-term rental market, aren't we, with the government intervention, should we say, to various geopolitical issues. Have you noticed that affecting your demand for your properties? Or
not yet, no, not at all. Okay. It's an issue we've always been working with on Mallorca, because Mallorca short-term rentals have been categorically... Never. We've always had big issue, and there's even more issues now on the islands because rentals are just incredibly expensive and local people can't afford them anymore. So that's become a major issue. But even on the Costa Blanca and the Costa del Sol, it's not directly become an issue. People are talking about it, and I think rentals, short-term rentals, will be more regulated. It will be becoming more and more of an issue. I don't know to what grade they would probably disallow completely. If the old licenses are there, if they're going to use those, I'm not sure. But it's so far it hasn't stopped anybody from buying.
No, I think that the problems start when the lawyers find that in the statutes of the development, there's pretty much a ban on running a business from your apartment, which the Supreme Court has judged also includes holiday rentals. But and I spoke to a developer about this a couple of weeks ago, and he said, "Well, a developer wouldn't put that in clause now.
No, you wouldn't.
There's just no
But
point.
you can't. If it's long-term rental, I mean, you can't categorically say no to rentals. I mean, if you want to rent your property, you can rent it. Now, if you do it commercially on a weekly basis, Airbnb or Booking or whoever, it's a different thing. But obviously, I think there are always tools how you can regulate this.
Yeah.
Obviously, if he does B&B, if he does Booking, and everything is in a legal way, and he pays his taxes, I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, exactly. So just in terms of advice for any new buyers out there who are looking to invest off-plan, they've heard of Taylor Wimpey. They think, okay, good, solid, reputable builder, developer. What would be your advice in terms of when should they get in? Should it be before day one? Off-plan, pre-license? I know you guys don't sell pre-license, do you?
Not at all.
You've got pretty strict rules on that. So should it be day one? Should they be queuing up outside the sales office of your next development? Are they going to get capital growth? I know you can't guarantee anything.
Impossible.
But as you've already said, you want to reward those early adopters, don't you, by giving them the best price and hoping that during construction they'll make a few quid. That's still the case. I mean, that's.
I think it's down to what the needs and wants of each and every client is. Now, if you look at an investment, which is sometimes I'm going to use yourself, but in a couple of years you're looking to sell on, don't do short. At the moment, categorically, I wouldn't say short term. You won't be able to flip. Flipping, as you know quite well and I know quite well, it doesn't work now because you're not going to get there.
The cost of entry and the cost of sale.
10%, AGD, 1.2%, notary cost. It's just too much. So just look at it as a couple of years, maybe 3 to 5 years.
Medium to long-term view.
Medium to long-term view. Don't look short-term. It's not going to work. I would personally, if it's investment, at the end of it, if it's not pure, that it's just for me and my family, I've got nicest views, which are always most expensive properties, I would go for the cheapest unit.
Really?
I would go for the cheapest unit on site and say, listen, okay, I'm happy with this. I'm in this location I would like to be, I want to be. I've got all the amenities, but I would go for the cheapest unit.
Very interesting. How interesting.
Now, if I looking at if it's for me and my family, and I just want to enjoy this, and I've got money, I'm not looking at investment. Maybe I can go. I would probably go for the best unit. And money's not an issue, because obviously between the best and the worst, there's a couple of €100,000 for exactly the same property.
Yeah.
You want to be on the top. You want to see the sea. You want to be near to everybody. Okay, you pay €100,000 more. That's what it basically is. That's how we price. It's not by square meter prices. You would look at it in any major European capital. What we sell are illusions. I mean, that's what we're saying. We sell that sea view. We sell the Mediterranean lifestyle. That's why the people come here.
Yeah.
We sell the beaches. We sell the Rioja wine or the Ribera del Duero. We sell the good ham. That's what we sell. We sell Spanish lifestyle. And it's probably one of the best places to live in Europe or even worldwide. You can get here easily. There's good flight connections to Malaga. You rent your car at the airport or somebody picks you up, and it takes from Malaga to Sotogrande or any one of the Costa, it takes anything between half an hour and 1 hour and 10 minutes.
Oh, sounds great. Where do I say? Oh no, I'm here.
That's what we're selling eventually. That's the same here on the Costa Blanca or even on Mallorca.
So again, for the budding property investor, what should people be looking out for when they choose a development? How much due diligence should they do on the developer? And are there any red flags?
I personally, we don't start selling without a building license. And my personal opinion is I wouldn't.
Do you wish you could?
No.
Okay.
No, because selling without a building license, the problem today is my subcontractors won't start giving me prices until 2 or 3 months they can start working. I cannot calculate price. If you sell off-plan without a building license, it could potentially mean that it's going to take another 6 months or 1 year or even 2 years until you get that building license. Now, I would rather be in that position. I've got the building license, I can sell. This is going to be the selling price. That's what we do. I don't give back reservation deposits. I've never done it, and I'm not going to do it. So the minute I start selling, the client, our customer, you know exactly what's going to happen. And ideally, we should finish this project on the date which is stated in the private contract, and then you want to legally complete. Maybe we're 2 months out. Maybe we can actually advance 2 months, depending again on the town hall if we get all the paperwork. But buying off plan without a building license, you've got this dream, you've got this fantastic property, and suddenly, for whatever reason, he's not going to get the building license. He's going to come back to you and say, listen, I just don't know when we're going to get the building license. I can't deliver this product. I can't deliver this apartment at this price. It's going to be 50,000 euros more. And suddenly it's out of your budget and I can't afford it. And all my dreams just go plop.
Shattered, yeah.
Shattered. And it's just, I think it brings bad picture on property developers here in Spain, because in the UK you wouldn't do that, or in Germany you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't start selling something without a building license. It's just something we do here in the Costa del Sol, the Costa Blanca, even on Mallorca. And there's
why do we do it?
I don't know. It's probably sometimes a lot of property developers haven't got the financial strength. They need to show to the bank that they've got. Listen, I've got some pre-sales here, 20%, 30%. So I can go to the bank and get the finance.
I guess you don't have that problem.
We don't finance anything with any banks, so that's our big advantage. And obviously the red flag. Bank guarantees, you still have property developers, unfortunately, asking for 20 or 30 or 40% deposit without a bank guarantee or down payment. Bank guarantees are a must, or insurance policies, one of the two. And and for whatever reason, you've got nationalities. The Germans are number one, actually. You start buying properties without using legal advice, without a lawyer. And I think legal advice, it doesn't matter if it's a new build, if it's second-hand, obviously, if it's finger somewhere outside, you need legal advice. You need somebody professional to look at that property and just make sure everything is 100%. In Germany, you've got the situation that the notary actually takes over this part of the lawyer. So the notary just makes sure that everything. In Spain, the only thing a notary in Spain does, he actually confirms what seller and buyer have agreed. He doesn't do anything else. That's something people don't have in their mind. So a lawyer is important. Just make sure that this property developer and that property is legal and everything is in place. Yeah, do your due diligence and just make sure that that dream you have in Spain doesn't suddenly implode.
Let me take you back a little bit to some grim times. We had obviously you have lived through and worked through in the same company the financial crisis from, I guess, 08 to 12, 13.
Yep.
And then COVID.
Yeah.
Two completely different sets of circumstances, but both equally as shocking. How did you and your company kind of pivot? Or did you have to pivot? Or did you just carry on a snowball and
We carried on.
Did you?
Straight through.
Was that a decision that was kind of made at the top, or was it just let's
No, it was done. It was the management team at Spain, and we decided just to go on. I think we had a week where we couldn't do anything. Was in the limbo. I think that was the second week in March. I think 8th or 10th of March, and the first week that was a bit.
Was this the
wobbly
financial crisis? Or
no, that was
COVID?
That was COVID.
Okay.
Well, financial crisis was a different thing. That was COVID was strange because we didn't know exactly what was hitting us. Well, financial crisis wasn't different. We didn't know what was hitting us.
It just fell off a cliff, didn't it? The financial crisis.
Completely, absolutely.
It didn't slow down. It just
it just went completely. It collapsed.
But you carried on selling.
We carried on selling, and we were the first ones in Spain, and we could to who have in that financial crisis in 2008. We started heavily discounting properties in 2010. And the biggest discounts we gave were up to about 35-40%.
And was that just to clear stock and keep the cash rolling?
Exactly. It was just a pure exercise of cash flow, nothing else. Because one thing, if things go really, really bad, cash is king.
Absolutely.
And that's what you got to do. You just got to make moving. The big advantage we had, again, we never worked with any Spanish banks. If we would have done that, because Spanish banks categorically said to all these property developers, Arenales 2000, IFOS, and all these people, these old names. No, you can't do anything. You know, it's mine. It's the banks. So,
and as I said,
that's where the chaos starts.
These are the times we should have all been buying as investors.
Oh yes.
When people are selling or not buying, that's when you should get in.
Exactly. That's where you should get in.
what about COVID then? Because again, having survived the financial crisis and having come through that, and we're on a roll, we're moving on. We haven't even mentioned Brexit. I'm not even going to get into that. But COVID comes along, and yeah, none of us kind of knew what was happening, did we? We weren't quite sure if this was the end of the world or, well, the beginning of a new one. And it created opportunities, didn't it? As well as challenges.
Afterwards, obviously, from mid of 21, we could see what actually COVID gave us, because suddenly people just approached this property in Spain in a totally different way. I said, I want that property in Spain. I need that property in Spain in case this is going to happen again. That was actually quite interesting. Yeah, but when it started in March 2020, initially it was, what we're going to do. So we kept on doing, as we started massive business. The sites kept on building. So we had everybody on the building sites. It just went on as if nothing would have happened. You
just had the building counters thinking,
this is going to work. And basically, it was here in Spain, we had the lockdown basically for 2 months, and then mid-May, end May, we started kicking off again, and it was quite normal. But we kept on building, and we kept on selling. Obviously, what you did probably well, we just went social media crazy.
I was going to say, did you have to alter? Did you have to put your
the marketing
sales channels?
Yeah, absolutely. That would completely everything change. Obviously, we couldn't get people around here. Then we had the sales people going on site with FaceTime and WhatsApp videos, and that's what we did.
Did you sell units on that?
Yeah, well, we did. Yeah, obviously a lot less, but we kept on selling. Yeah. But obviously, we adapted our business plan for 2020. We adapted the business plan to 2021, which initially then turned out to be great. We thought we were going to sell a lot less in 2021.
Yeah, we did.
Until the end of 21, we said, "Well, this is great.
Yeah,
let's keep going."
And do you think that was just sentiment? That whole COVID experience just allowed people to think, okay, I could do life a bit differently?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
And a lot of people did, didn't they? A lot of people just thought, right.
100% was the home office is a big thing. Obviously, they could work from anywhere in the world. I mean, you've got so many people working from the Costa del Sol, from Mallorca, from the Costa Blanca. They can work from anywhere they want. It's no problem at all. You can do that.
Just in terms of your product inventory at the moment, could you just tell us what you have available on the Costa del Sol?
Well, if you look at total, we've got about 1,000 properties under construction right now. That's the whole of Spain. On the Costa Blanca, it's probably half of that, probably a little bit less, but that's, if we start down the western Costa del Sol, as I call it, so down Soto Grande area, San Roque area, where we've got one side, Emerald Greens. The first 2 phases are sold out. Phase 3 is now being handed over. We've got 2 units to sell, two penthouses. Phase 4 is for sale. And then we've got another phase of 29 units, which we're going to start probably March next year.
Okay.
And that's it then. We've got Emerald Greens out. That's 109 units.
San Roque is interesting, isn't it? It's
very interesting.
It's moving.
Oh yes, it's moving. The golf course is fantastic.
Yeah,
and the old San Roque course is phenomenal. The clubhouse, what they've done to it, the money they've invested is serious money.
Is that an area you see yourself sort of getting more involved in?
I think Soto Grande and San Roque has been an area which was quite well known, but I think it's probably one of the areas. It's gorgeous areas. It's very green and it is very, very nice. And I was on site yesterday, and it's a nice environment, a nice area. Infrastructure, there could be a little bit more, but if you want peace and quiet and you want to be out of everything, obviously the disadvantage is 1 hour and 15 minutes from the airport. But if you fly to Gibraltar as a UK, then it's just 20 minutes. So it's actually quite nice. And prices there at the moment start at 405,000 euros for a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Then we move up the coast. We go to we've got one site called Solimar Cáceres.
Yeah.
That's first 2 phases are sold out. We've got another phase at the back. Price is starting 365.
Okay, so still reasonable.
Still reasonable.
Now you can walk to the beach.
You can walk just to the right. You run and you're there. We've handed over the first phase. Second phase is going to be handed over in March next year, and then we're building the final phase, which is now in structure going up. That sold very well, extremely well. A lot better than we thought. Because again, you're near the sea, near the beach. Near the beach is always something. There's a no-brainer. If it's anywhere walking distance to the beach and walking distance to some amenities,
it ticks a lot of boxes.
Yes, it ticks all the boxes. Anything any Central or Northern European would like to have. Then we go up to Estepona. We've got Sunny Golf. First 2 blocks are sold. We've got two units remaining, 2 3-bedroom units remaining. Both at 360 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom.
Wow.
On Estepona Golf, and then we're starting with the next 2 blocks now. They're going up. Then we go to this area basically. We've got Altua 160, a site which we've just started, 60 units.
That's your latest
Latest release, 60 units, 2 and 3 bedroom, starting at 585. Okay. Sales have started. We've got the initial, we've got 2 or 3, so it's going to start. This is no structure. Structure's starting to come up probably in about 2 or 3 weeks. Right. Sort of micropiling we've got to do because it's soft soil. So that's going up. Then going down to San Pedro. Yeah. We've got Mare, which is 1 and 2. Terra, which was the first, that's sold out. Mare 1 is nearly sold out. Mare 2 is now up for sale. Price is starting around 650,000 euros for a 2-bedroom. Okay. And they're going up to, okay, there we've got some which are over $1 billion, which are penthouses at 1.4, 1.5 million. Okay, yeah. Then we've got still 4 stock units, 4 key-ready properties, 4 key-ready penthouses in Marbella Lake, Nueva Andalucía.
Forgot about Marbella Lake, yes, yeah.
Marbella Lake, Nueva Andalucía, and they're at 850 to 1 million. And then we go up to Istan, which you mentioned earlier on. That was an interesting site to start. The first 2 phases of townhouses and apartments have sold out, and now we're on to the second phase of apartments and townhouses, and another site we started further down the road.
Does that work well for you?
It's worked well. Yeah, it was the first phase 1 is sold out. Phase 2 is not for sale. We don't have any stock. We have 2 stock penthouses of the apartments, and we will have some townhouses becoming available in about a month's time, and then we'll have about 4 at the moment. We're missing 4 to sell, but it's selling. It's ticking over. Yeah. It's ticking over and it's selling. Prices again there. We've got 2-bedroom at 350, 360.
Pretty competitive.
With pretty competitive penthouses with 3 bedrooms at 550, 580, which again is very, very competitive. And then we go to La Cala, which we spoke about earlier on. Solana Village. Phase 1 sold out. We've got 2 penthouses left of the smaller units, and then we're going on to the next phase. And there again, we're about 350, 355. 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, that new phase, because smaller units, going up to just under 650, 680 of the penthouses. And that's what we have.
Wow, that's a lot.
There's a lot of
to manage, yeah.
And now, basically, we're constantly looking at land, and that's becoming a big issue on the Costa del Sol.
Yeah, it is. To find pockets of value as well.
The last 30 years, it's always been the same discussion. The last 30 years, it's always the same discussion. Well, land is difficult. It's always difficult, but at the end, something will always come up.
Are there any areas that you think are ready, prime for developments that maybe other people are? Well, you're not going to tell me, are you? Opportunities out there or areas that people may have overlooked.
I think the Costa del Sol, you know better than I do. I mean, that's without asking. I know you've been here. You're much professional. I've been coming here since '97, every couple of weeks, months, but.
It's hard to find.
It's hard to find
those pockets of value. I mean, there is land available, but to find something that make the numbers work without inflating prices.
Well, our sales manager, because we're La Cala, obviously, we look how to develop what prices we can do. And if you look at someone's selling prices around that area down there, you say, listen, wait a minute, was this? You must be joking. If you see 3-bedroom apartments, which used to sell maybe for 800,000, they suddenly say for 1.2 million euros, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's a bit.
There comes a point, doesn't there?
That's where we would say, I'm not going to sell a 3-bedroom apartment in a okay location, but for that price, I think that's just wrong. I think the value for money has to be right.
Bit of a fun question for you. So, if I said to you, Marc, Taylor Wimpey, you've been on the phone, and as a reward for your 30 years in service, you get a free apartment. You can choose from any of your Costa del Sol inventory.
From the inventory right now?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
What would you have?
I probably would go.
He's going to go with the most expensive one, isn't he? He's not soft, this guy.
Permanent move, I probably would go. That's too loud down there. I think Marbella Lake, one of the penthouses in Marbella Lake, I would go for. That's personally, I think that's Nueva Andalucía.
Well, it just so happens there's one available. Did you know?
Yeah. But there are the developments. Los Arqueros, I always loved Los Arqueros. Los Arqueros always for me was something.
Sorry, that's gone.
I can't know that. We all should have bought a couple more there. Yeah, Los Arqueros was great. It was gone. And I remember when we bought Los Arqueros, everybody said, "You must be crazy." It was right up there in the mountains.
Oh, really?
There was nothing up there.
Isn't it amazing? And now it's
You drive up. You can't. First time I drove up, and you saw no houses. You see, La Quinta wasn't existent. There was nothing there. You just drove up. And Los Arqueros was bankrupt, was just a golf course, a clubhouse, and one development. And all the rest was just raw land.
No, it's a very pretty place. It's very good. And I bought in El Lago because I always say to investors, look, if you can get a 3-bed for the price of a 2-bed or there or thereabouts, go for the 3 because there's less of them, less competition.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. Anyway,
golf course.
We'll see how that works.
Yeah.
Before we finish, just the last question: what's next? What's next for Marc? What's next for Taylor Wimpey? Are there any pivots in your business? Anything? Branded residences, rental guarantees? Anything that you're thinking?
If you get rental guarantees, you know the market is really going bad.
Yeah.
It's fact.
You're paying that somewhere.
If anybody offers you returns, we've never offered returns, and I'm not going to offer returns.
Yeah.
But if anybody guarantees 5% for the next 2 years, it's because that's built into the selling price. I mean, I'm very open and very straightforward. Yeah. Any guaranteed rental returns are built into the selling price.
Are there any sort of market movements that you can see? Branded residences has been a big one, hasn't it?
Because, yes.
And I think it
Costa del Sol.
Yes.
Only Costa del Sol.
Okay.
I've never seen it anywhere else. Nobody.
Right.
It's very specific, especially Marbella area.
Have you ever wanted to get involved in it?
No, I wouldn't. Nobody has ever discussed it. We haven't talked about it.
No,
we haven't had
Mrs. Versace approach you?
No. I think we're too normal for that. I think Versace wouldn't. I think Versace would. I don't think they would approach us. I think we're just too much. I think what we're known for is offering a good value for money in good locations. But it's just. I don't know the market. I'm not good enough for that market. I wouldn't be able to adapt to or change it to that market.
So the message from you guys is more of the same. Stick to a winning formula.
Yeah.
Look for more land.
Yeah.
Look for other opportunities.
Do what you. I don't know. Redevelopment, is that's going to become an issue in the future? Maybe we've got lots of old apartment sites in the Benalmadena or Molinas area, and we have a lot of new builders going up there too. But if that's going to be an issue, the problem there is obviously you've got an apartment block with 20 or 50 or 100 owners. And trying to get those together, or if there's old things which there's only one owner and you can knock them down and build something new. I think redevelopment is probably something, brown, as he called it back in the UK, brownfield, if that's something which is going to come, to develop. Old hotels, that's a big issue. That's a big issue in Spain, Mallorca, changing the use from old hotels which are not existent, don't work anymore. The locations might be wrong.
What about apart hotels?
That's another thing. Converting them. I think there are a lot of possibilities. There's always something out there.
Build to rent, because that's what the UK did, isn't it? When the crisis came, it was like, okay.
We have a lot of build to rent in Spain. If you go to Madrid, if you go to Barcelona, Seville, Valencia, you have a lot of build to rent. Big developers do it quite a bit. We did the local market too. We were actually quite active on the Spanish local market until financial crisis. Then we moved out.
Strange that. Okay, brilliant. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming along. It's been an absolute pleasure. I haven't seen you for a while, so it's nice to catch up and chew the fat and hear how things are going. And I wish you every success in the future.
Thank you very much.
Until then,
for having me.
Cheers for now.